Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about Neptune turning direct and its influence on the 4th of December eclipse as well as 2022. Neptune, the higher octave of love, creativity, healing and spirituality, has just turned direct. After months of retrograde journey since 25th of June 2021, traversing back from 23 degree of Pisces to 20 degree of Pisces. Neptune retrograde was all about reviewing the ideals that we have created in love, in creativity, in healing, in spirituality, and during this retrograde period since 25th of June 2021, we have seen the reality of some of the ideals. The part of us that wants to be inspired, dream big, have a vision beyond the current moment, it has seen some reality checks. So we have to now, with this turning direct, release an old ideal and start creating a new one. A new ideal in love, in healing, in creativity, and in spirituality. We would talk about this process today, which is an integral part of the 4th of December solar eclipse, as well as a critical transit for 2022, because Jupiter and Neptune, they would combine together, they would be conjunct in April of 2022, expanding this new version of the ideal that now we'll start working on. This will be the key theme of 2022. My name is Charu. I'm your host on this journey. Let's begin. Let's start with the immediate period, which is December of 2021, and how we got here. Neptune retrograde, it comes with a visceral knowing of the truth that was just hiding below the surface. But in our idealism or in our blindness, we chose to ignore it. Since June of 2021, we have been having these realizations of those very idealism or blindness that we had towards something. Having our own personal aha moments, which then became more physical and visible since September of 2021. September 2021 was the turning period when some amount of reality started showing up. Now this direct moment, it comes with physical manifestation on rational plane of all those feelings, the gut feel or the visceral knowing of what is truth. And now we need to make sure the realizations and the realities we have seen of certain ideals in our life since September of 2021, now we take definitive action towards them. What's been recognized to be fake is now physically released and removed physically, as we have no doubt in it being fake anymore. We see in each cases how deceived we have been or what we've missed in the name of idealism. Neptune transit though just don't come with dissolution of the fake, they also come with transcending. And that is the higher octave of that transit that we need to tap into. This transcendence comes with compassion for the ones who have even wronged us as we forgive and release them. The external deception with Neptune transits is essentially what we have attracted as a life lesson, because they are a result of an internal complex that we need to work through the presence of another in our life. External planets like Neptune, they always manifest psychological. They always manifest psychologically. So the physical events are just a manifestation of a psychological change we needed to go through by first creating that fog of an ideal and then realizing the reality of it. So any physical event is reflection of a complex that we needed to work through. And that working through our own complex happened through a deception or an idealism. Past few months, we might have worked through this complex, which now allows us to let the external deception now to be released. So we can create a new ideal, a new dream, a creative vision which is replacing the previous one which we have recognized to be fake. Something external, ideal, physically dies and it passes away from our life because it was a fake ideal or it was an ideal which has outlived its purpose. That ideal was something that we were addicted to and living in some ways blindly. Healing happens as we transcend from it. The period of next 2 weeks is an extremely sensitive period because we are in the process of developing new skin. It's all still extremely raw, especially in matters linked to that loss or the wound or the truth that has come to surface. We would feel this in a very raw manner around 7th and 12th of December, and then again on 11th of January, especially around 20 degree of Pisces, Virgo, Gemini and Sagittarius, around 2 degrees before and after 20 degree of Pisces, Virgo, Gemini and Sagittarius, which is around 10th of March, 12th of September, 11th of June and 12th of December born, 2 days before, 2 days after. These would also be the days of immense confusion. There will be misplaced actions which will be based on very confusing set of information. Think of a baby just out of the womb, not yet ready for the real world, but yet being handed the warrior energy of the 4th of December solar eclipse. The 4th of December solar eclipse is happening with a warrior energy star called Antares. Antares is a warrior star. Sometimes we do need its energy, that warrior energy, right after birth to make something new work. Despite the hurt or the loss of the past, to push through to the new. But sometimes that very warrior energy can go in a very wrong direction easily. Because being at a high, that kind of high that a Sagittarius eclipse gives you emotionally, along with this warrior energy, during a fog, creates chances of being misled. So we need to be a little bit careful on how we are handling things, especially over the course of next 2 weeks, because there will be a lot of warring energy. We would want to rage a war at a time when we are very sensitive, and not just that we are sensitive, everybody else around us will also have the same raw skin. Some things can be solved without a war, but the warrior in our heart would want to be reborn, but only through a feisty fight or war. The star has this quality, Antares has that quality. It likes to be reborn through a war. It wants to fight to get to the other side of this death rebirth process that it comes with. This is United States eclipse. It is happening on its ascendant, and the star sits on the ascendant of United States, which means it defines its identity in some ways to all the people who see them. As a country on war footing on its ascendant, a compulsive warrior who's a competent warrior, and in their own mind they are a holy warrior. So in their own mind, we all would be like that. We would think that we are fighting a fight of something that is justified. It is a fight for justice that we are going to fight. Yet in some ways, that very fight is self-destructive. With the very thing that makes us powerful, this warrior energy, our ability to have a good fight, that very quality could be our self-destructive quality. And that is highlighted with the star coming to surface with this solar eclipse that's ahead of us. Let's talk a little bit about the health influence of this aspect that is playing out during the eclipse. The immunity of the body would be very, very low. As I said, just like a newborn right out of the womb with a very sensitive skin. Our sensitivity emotionally and physically would be very high over the next 2 weeks. During this period, it's very easy to get misled by information or misled on healing. Drug sensitivity will be very high. Tiredness, lethargy, masked symptoms, loads of false information would be rampant. Pisces part of our life will be sluggish and we would need to feed it because the past is being released and that past is not going to go out easily without a fight. It will be almost like the past that we're trying to get rid of or release from our life because we've seen the reality of it. It has claws that will try to claw back the future that's emerging. Physically, Piscean healing, which we would require right now, it requires us to de-stress our immune system. De-stressing through water, exposure to water like through baths, walks by the sea, fresh air, long walks, and sunshine. These are natural healing techniques for Piscean influences. Pisces rules our lymph glands, which is our first line of defense against foreign bacteria and viruses. So it can be stressed. Our immune system would be stressed, being forced to generate high white blood cells. Boost your immunity and watch out for general sluggishness and fatigue, especially on the dates that I've highlighted: 7th of December, 12th of December, 11th of January. And be very careful of the information being fed to you or any kind of new medicine that you're taking during this time. This is not medical advice. These are astrological influences which happen every year. They are not new in nature. This is a typical flu season, if you would realize, and it happens almost every year around this time that Neptune goes direct and we see a drop in immunity. Boost your immunity and watch out for general sluggishness and fatigue, weak feet, poor circulation, hypoglycemia or diabetes or weak pancreas. They are reflective of Neptune and Pisces affecting you. But on these dates, 7th, 12th of December as well as 11th of January, Neptune and Pisces will also afflict the planets in Sagittarius because they will be forming a square with each other, which can bring additional issues beyond immunity, which are linked to nerves. Nerves from the lumbar to the calf of the body. This is the lower half of the body, especially the thigh and the buttocks part of the body. It's like the sciatica nerve, which can be stressed at this time, or the nervousness or the physical exertion of the lower half body can be experienced. Sagittarius also rules our expiratory function of the lungs, the exhaling, the breathing out part of the body. So not breathing properly, it can be influence that we can see. It builds up the toxins which are not exhaled essentially. So we need to actively during these dates be mindful of, for example, having more oxygen in the body because we are not exhaling properly. It's called shallow breathing essentially, which can influence us. Exhale, calm the nerves, rest a bit, take relaxing walks and baths, avoid over information, avoid too much news, which can be misleading during this time. Avoid draining conflicts with people. There could be miscommunication with people, which can happen, and in a warrior energy, that does not serve us well. This is not medical advice. This is based on the astrological aspects. Again, this can specifically influence you more if you have planets around 20 degree of Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, Sagittarius, which is around 10th of March, 12th of September, 11th of June or 12th of December born, 2 days and 2 degrees before and after. Let's talk about the timeline of the process, the degree at which Neptune is turning direct, which is 20 degree, 24 degree of Pisces, 20 degree 24 minutes of Pisces. That process at that very degree, it started back in April 2020 last year. So this whole process that we are now going to see the other side of it, because we have realized and recognized the fake in it, what is real, what is not, what is working, what is not, what needs to be released, what we thought was the previous model and what is the new model. We'll find that that process of this recognition of this ideal, it started back in April of 2020, which we all know what it was the start of. So the information or the ideals or the healing processes or the healing discussions that have happened from back in April 2020, we have recognized which of those have actually worked, not worked, what is fake, what is not fake in it to some extent. Now, as Neptune goes direct, from now to April would be the time to bed down and finalize that, okay, this is the way to heal from this. This is the way to move forward with it. This was fake. This was not fake in it. We have recognized that from last couple of months. Now we move forward to form the next ideal. Neptune takes time to dissolve what's fake. We needed this time from April of 2020 to now to get where we have got now. It's a slow erosion. It's our expulsion from secure, known places that we have outlived. And this process since April 2020 was required to for the expulsion of ourselves. If you look at your own personal life, you needed this external imperus that we all have been in since April 2020 to move away from a secure, known place that we have outlived. But unlike Pluto, we are a bit numb right now in loss of Neptune. There is even a transcendence or a elation in releasing the old process. Because usually what's taken away by Neptune, we somewhere already knew is dead. Neptune is like a drug that does not let us feel the erosion of something that was once very crucial to us. There is a longing for an ideal, and it will come through many tries. We have been through that immense trial since April 2020. There's a craving to return to innocence, a desire to be safe from all the collective pain that is felt during Neptune transit. And some call it escape, but it's like self-defense mechanism to ease letting go. But there is a numbness around loss when Neptune is releasing something. Because once we get over this erosive process that we are in right now, we know that there are limitless opportunities. There is even a, if I dare say, optimism in loss. With turning direct of Neptune, one ideal is slowly dislodged or released, and we become optimistic about working on another ideal. Sun opposition to Neptune in mid-September might have already brought a physical event to light, which showed us the reason, if we need one reason, to release what we are releasing right now in the current events. It was the beginning of the disintegration, which to some extent now is coming fully to light. But with that disintegration in September, might also have emerged a glimpse of a new world, a new creative reality which is possible for you if you let go the old. Now is the time to live that new world, that new creative reality, new and elaborate vision of what our world could be. It might have come through something which can only be defined as a slip or externally inflicted loss on us. But in that loss, we slipped from one reality to another. But with Neptune, that process, it takes this much time that it has taken to become fully evident. The process of turning point, which began in April 2020, and we saw a reality of which in September 2021. Now is the time to manifest it all the way till April 2022. Neptune transit, it influences a specific part of our life for 13 to 14 years in total. So it's a very long transit, and it's a slow process of creative imagination being refined through many ideals being created and many ideals lost. We have had this specific Neptune transit in Pisces beginning from February of 2011. Neptune entered Pisces back in February 2011. So this process of finding an ideal, losing actual faith in it, then another form emerging, that process actually, if you look at the long-term process, it started in February 2011. And it would continue all the way till January 2026. It's a once-in-lifetime transit, as Neptune slowly but surely is taking us to an uncharted world. An uncharted world where a lot of trust and faith is required. We have two zodiacs activated right now. They are both ruled by faith. We have the Sagittarius eclipse, which is ruled by faith, faith in growth, faith in our ability to be more. And Pisces, our ability to manifest a higher octave of humanity, higher octave of creativity, higher octave of love, healing, and spirituality. The very definition of alternative healing. The very definition of using trust and faith to move forward. There are always lower and higher manifestations of dual signs. These are dual signs. Both Pisces and Sagittarius, they're dual sign. Dual signs always have a very strong possibility of going and creating heaven or hell of choosing. There are lower and higher manifestations of Neptune, which rules Pisces, which we must be aware of, because we're going to feed either of them. Being a dual sign, we are going to either feed the higher manifestation or the shadow side of it. And both manifestations will be strong, because right now Neptune is standing still. It's very strong. The lower frequency that it comes with is fear, escapism, delusion, trying to delude somebody or trying to delude yourself, escaping from reality, escaping from what we know now is fake or not fake, fear around the unknown that is ahead of us, temptation, self-sabotage. These are lower frequencies or the shadow side, which will also manifest very strongly. Denying the inspiration that this beautiful transit promises, getting stuck in fear, escapism, disillusionment is not the best use of this energy. And the mutability of this transit, it gives us the choice on how we wish to experience it and how we wish to manifest it. Choose respect for your dream. Realize the component of it that is fake. Realize the component of it that needs change. Invite and welcome inspiration that can only come when we move beyond the known. Allow your intuition to guide you versus the external influences, which will be very strong and they will be very misleading. Use the sensitivity of the moment to know what you know within you is right for you, what is drawing you to negative places you do not wish to be in anymore. Your sensitivity and your intuition is heightened right now. You can physically feel what is right for you and what is wrong for you. Don't give that choice to another. You will be surprised when you would look back at the current moment to see how inspired you were to release or let go something that was fake or of lower frequency for you. And you'll be surprised at what you were inspired to do, which is beyond anybody's imagination right now. Neptune transit are compared to anesthesia of separation from the fake, separation from the lower frequencies, as well as the ideal that was once part of you, but now you need to leave the womb. The full control we so crave, because when something is known, we have control over it. The full control that we so crave and our ego craves, it will not exist in this structure. That is not the quality of a Neptunian initiation. It's a dangerous journey. We risk reaching the divine, isn't it? In love, in creativity, in healing, in spirituality. It's not the enemy. It's the faith that would inspire and get us through to the next growth frontier that upcoming eclipse wants to bring us. We spoke of this by sign in summer, when the summer eclipses happened, when the last Sagittarius eclipse happened. At that time, Neptune was going retrograde. So we spoke of this by sign in detail, both about how does the Neptune transit affect each of the zodiac sign, as well as how a Sagittarius eclipse is influencing us. We also spoke of the actual do's and don'ts. What is the road to success? The way to be, to make best use of this energy. I'll leave the link to that video below for you to access the timestamps for your zodiac. In the immediate period, there will be a lot of confusion. There will be a tendency to go to the lower manifestation. Hence my warning about 7th and 12th December as well as 11th of January. This is especially very crucial and critical for United States as a country, as not only the upcoming eclipse is on the ascendant, as I said, the country is also having its Neptune opposition, which, as I have mentioned before, was at a time when there was a ramp up to civil war last time in America. This is a very tricky situation. It does not bode very positively for Biden as per his chart, as I've mentioned before. And it's happening at a time when solar eclipse is happening at a warring degree. 4th December eclipse is a parallel of December 2002. If you're old enough, you could look at it for yourself as well. But everything is not the same. November eclipse in Taurus, as I mentioned, was a parallel of November 2002. We saw SARS onset with November 2002 eclipse in Taurus at the same degree that we saw right now in November 2021. But the SARS influence only lasted till the duration of the activation of that eclipse, which means, in my view, if there is a onset right now parallel to SARS, that would only last till end of February, early March 2022. So a short-lived influence and a similar kind of influence. December 2002 eclipse, which is a parallel to the December 2021 eclipse, it came with a lot of revelations of religious cults and religious leaders. And because it's a south node eclipse, there is somebody who steps down normally, who could be a religious leader or a leader who's followed like a cult in some ways. So there's usually a resignation that comes with it of somebody who's being released or needs to let go or step down. It also comes with loss in globalization, some sort of loss in supply chain. As I mentioned before, South Node in Sagittarius has that influence normally. And it comes with an airline incident usually, or a failure of innovation in travel or communication, some sort of failure in travel or communication, because it's a South Node eclipse, which comes with something that needs to be released and let go. In personal initiations, you would have seen an event back in April 2021 where something was released, lost, or let go, and now you have to finally cut cord with it now after going through this whole back and forth of realizing reality of it and start a new thing in place of that. It's a rebellious time, and this time it would be a lot of fog, too many unknowns with everybody ready for a war. We always have a choice, as I said, on how to use this energy. Let's talk about the Neptune transit in 2022. Neptune was at the degree that it is right now, which is around 20 degree of Pisces, back in March, April 2020. And then it went there again February, March of this year in 2021. This is its last go at its degree. So the period from now to around January, it's like the erosive process that collectively started in March or April of 2020, which had to reveal some realities and help us release something which was fake or have some realization for ourselves. It's like its job is pretty much getting done. Doesn't mean that all of the influence of Neptune and Pisces is over. As I said, that transit, Neptune and Pisces, will continue till January of 2026. And for United States, who has its natal Neptune at 22 degree 25 minutes of Pisces, you will see its impact all the way for the next 2 years. And Neptune is at the top of its chart. So there's some amount of changes, confusion, delusion, and slow erosion of office of the president in some ways, and changes there which happens with it. That process will still continue for the 2 years for United States. And as I said before, Neptune opposition last time came with civil war in United States. Wars, as I have said before, they're fought in very different fashion. So the 3 years process over which the civil war was building up in United States last time, that process, if you draw the parallel with this year, that process started from last year, essentially, end of last year or early part of this year. So in some ways, if you have to draw an exact parallel, you can say that the civil war preparation almost started at the start of this year for United States. But as I said, they're not fought in the same way now. Personally, for ourselves, the process from now, we will see another version of all the things that have happened since April 2020. We sort of will see the purpose of why we went through this erosive process that Neptune makes us go through since April 2020. And we saw another erosion of that in March 2021. A new emergence from the dissolution that we saw in March 2021. Now as we have the last go at it, you sort of see clarity, I believe in it. It's almost like after a corrosive process, we see the reason behind it all. The dissolution of an old social, political, religious, and personal boundaries, which have been prohibiting our personal and collective growth, which was the whole reason, higher octave reason behind what all of us went through since April 2020. We'll see a new ideal emerge out of that. And that new ideal is born with Jupiter Neptune Conjunction in April 2022. I'm looking at the higher octave of it. I know there are a lot of predictions out looking at the shadow side. As I said, this is a dual energy. You have the possibility of creating heaven or hell with it. For in your personal capacity, Jupiter Neptune Conjunction have capacity to create a new ideal for you, which you can grow immensely in 2022. We spoke of this in detail back in March, when not just Neptune started walking these degrees, we actually had a new moon at 23 degree of Pisces, which is exactly the degree at which we'll have the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in April 2022. And that is the outer planet conjunction that is going to color the entire 2022 for us and for the global events. I'll leave the link of that March reading I had done for each of the sign, so you can review that to be prepared for 2022. This is a once in 166 years of divine cycle when optimism hits up our dreams and inflated expectations are very much at the root of this cycle. We are seeding and reviewing that cycle right now with this eclipse that's happening and Neptune retrograde turning around at the same degree. So a bit of inflated expectations are going to be part of it, but so would be the prospect for creative genius, compassion, inspiration, positive thinking, and divinity. In 1856, when we had lost the cycle in Pisces, when Jupiter and Neptune came together in Pisces, Sigmund Freud was born, Frank Baum, the author of Wizard of the Oz, was born, Robert Peary, who claimed discovery of North Pole, was born. I can just go on. It's the Nicholas Tesla was born. Creative geniuses is what underlines this cycle, which is about to begin in 2022, and we are standing on the threshold of it all. But there would also be these delusional leaders. I told you the shadow side of it. Bad intention, false hopes, inflation, all will also come with it. Inflated hopes, inflated prices, inflation in promises from leaders, inflation and promises of healing, seeds of what was once planted in inflated expectations and idealism in March 2021, though now we have seen some amount of reality of it already. So some amount of preview of 2022, it already started in March 2021. We already saw some inflated expectations. We already saw some idealism. But what shifted from March 2021 till now is that Neptune went retrograde, and it did show some of the ugly faces of the idealism. It did show some of the reality checks to us in our ideal. It did show us in our dream what things are not practically taken care of when we are so hyped up about it all. And that might have especially come to light in September 2021. But as I mentioned in the first part of this reading, along with those reality checks also comes the beam of hope on what to do about it. So we have also got another version of that ideal now ready because of it. This cycle has deep implications for change in religion, healing, and spirituality. It also has impact on weather patterns, especially linked to floods and hurricanes, and we'll see that especially around April 2022. The cycle, last time it came with the island hurricane in US, which destroyed the last island. So it can come with a massive flood in April 2022. It also came with a massive church explosion. So something related to religion, which is linked to Jupiter in Pisces, something linked to water bodies, which is linked to Neptune in Pisces. Those are two very obvious implications that I see from it. But this was also the first year when we saw back in 1856, when we last had this cycle. It was also the first year when third party in US was formed. There was like a new structure of politics that had emerged. It was a third party in US called Know Nothing American Party. So, there could be a change in the way elections are fought to begin with in United States. That's one possibility I see. As I said, seeds of American Civil War were grown in this cycle as well back in 1856. We are in the heart of it all right now. All dual signs have the superpower to create heaven or hell. They can divert their immense ability to change directions and situations, to shift the current in another direction, either of them, to heaven or to hell. Pisces archetype do that with emotions and intentions. All of us are going to do this with our strength of emotions and intentions. Remember, when we'll have two mega planets, Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces, our ability to create a different reality using our intentions and emotions is collectively very, very high. If you feel you have a gift, you have a mission, you have a mandate in life, and we all do, a gift that can be of value to community, you and me need to substantiate that belief with results in 2022. We have seen some reality an application or reality checks. What is the practical use of the skill I have? Since March 2021, during this retrograde cycle, especially since September 2021, you might have learned some way to commercialize it or show it to the public or do something different about it. Use it. Use it from now on. Make it go live. 23-degree Pisces in Sambian symbol stands for a materializing medium giving a science. A science is when medium is giving that kind of performance. She's giving everything to it. She's giving her body. She's giving her energy. She's giving her soul to what she's creating. There is an underlying sacrifice of self to the art always embedded in this energy. People don't acknowledge this fact too many times, but Pisces as an archetype, they face many unexplained circumstances in life that don't allow them to live on the surface. So to get to the depth of that talent that you had, you have to go through unexplained circumstances. All of us collectively have gone through that in our individual life to bring the depth to the surface, so we don't live on the surface, so we don't live a shallow life. They, as an archetype, Pisces, they learn this devotion to life's meaning and have a very clear knowing of life's fragility by getting close to death. This is realism, but it's not like Virgo kind of realism. This is realism of life, of understanding of life. And that understanding of life can only come collectively to humans by reaching brink of extinction. By reaching to a stage which is pretty much like on the doors of death. That kind of soul enlightenment can only happen when you reach that point. I look at that as the purpose of the events from April 2020. Now from that place, what would you create? What would you give your life energy to? All of it. All consuming that will survive the death of our body. It's very much a collective evolution, a global pain, a collective pain that we all together feel at an existential level. As Neptune is the representative of the womb, and we are all collectively coming out of the womb. Duality, though, it gives us two roads, heaven or hell. Constructive aspect leads to a substantiation of a dream, of an ideal. Shadow aspect leads us to lower energies, deception, getting lost in negativity about something, getting lost in deception of someone, not forgiving. What is the motive behind the seance that you're giving? What is the motive induced into your performance? Because that will pretty much determine whether you're creating heaven or hell. What is the motive behind it? You would have seen by now if your motives are in the right place, by some speck of clarity which came since September. You will seek something beyond daily experiences. From now to April, you'll give form to it. We may not know where it is leading. Intuition and faith is a muscle. And this cycle is helping us flex it, strengthen it with practice. We are feeling it out as we move. Saddle of Pegasus, the winged horse, is what the star 𝗟𝗂𝗃 is at 23 degree of Pisces, where that conjunction will happen in April 2022. Saddle of the Pegasus is a steady point within us, which helps our own winged horses go to bigger things. A steady force within you, that is your motive, your clear motive of why you're doing this, which will bring focused action. Don't lose that saddle, because we are about to enter a very uncertain world with much turbulence right ahead of us in the coming days. That's what I have for you today. I'll see you in the next reading now. Thank you.